Hey guys, so welcome into the High Power, Low Price podcast. We're going to be digging into everything budget and budget competitive and high power at under $100 that we possibly can. I am Budget Bros, and with me is the co-host Navinod, also known as Budget Pub Stomper.
Namaste, homies. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, so this is going to be the first episode. We're going to keep it pretty light overall and just kind of dig into some topics. I threw out a couple like phrases and everything there in the beginning. So firstly off, like I'd really like to kind of dig into like what is $100 budget competitive and what is $100 high power, the space that me and Navinod live in. Believe it or not, so I actually got introduced into the format from your YouTube channel, Nav. I think we like had a couple conversations about that.
Yeah,
Yep.
man, that is crazy to think about. Yeah, what's budget competitive? What's it about? When I first got introduced to it, here's my real quick little it was just because I was playing CEDH against some players that didn't play CEDH, and I was trying to get them involved in the format, and they were kind of new to Magic, honestly, or definitely new to Commander. And I just let them pick some commanders, and then I built them decks. And I didn't want to spend a fortune on decks for my friends. I didn't like them that much. So I just set a price limit of $150 and started brewing. They picked their commanders, and I built these decks, and I just could not freaking believe how powerful they were. So it was kind of from there, I got really hooked on building these budget decks, and then I found a group of people that were going to do a tournament.
It sounds like you got into like something slightly different, and then like the environment around you ended up just being like $100 budget competitive. So yeah, I mean, I got into it just watching Navinod's channel. I remember I was literally just looking up for like budget high power lists, and I think it was some 50-60 minute video, you know what I mean? I hopped on, and then from there I've been hooked. I hopped into the Discord channel, and a week later I'm doing $100 brews, and that's pretty much all I've really done since. And
That's crazy too. You took to it very fast, man. You took to it very fast.
Yeah, the whole community. So here's my elevator pitch, guys. Join the Discord, pretty please. Everyone there is just super cool. It's not like a wild case where I got into it and now I'm doing videos and everything else on it. It's the fact that like that's how helpful the community is. It's basest form, since you're kind of I'd say the leading expert in the Discord group as of right now and everything.
Guru.
Yeah, the Discord guru.
Love it.
If I was a new player and I was watching this podcast or listening to this podcast for the first time, and I wanted to know exactly what $100 competitive is or $100 high power, what does it look like? What is it? What turn, like what are we looking at here?
Okay, so the first thing I'd say is that it's if the elevator pitch is something like this: take everything that you love about CEDH and everything that you hate about CEDH. You take all the good parts of CEDH and you leave all the bad parts of CEDH. Now you go over to casual and you take everything you love about casual and you bring most of it in. And you mash them together and you get this really cool format where you don't have to spend a fortune, right? Like you don't have to play proxies if that's not your thing, if you're not into it, $100, right? So you have a very accessible format, and you're not going to have games where you spend more time resolving mulligans than playing the game, right? You're not having games end on turn one, like literally ever. I've never seen it, never goldfished it. I don't know if it can happen. And you're also not going to have three guys hunkered down, well, maybe four guys hunkered down behind Ristic Studies and Mystic Remoras with fistful of free interaction. Playing a like 9-hour game. Like they don't go to, these games don't go to time. We just don't have enough interaction to make the game last 90 minutes. So the good thing is like the turn count is like every game goes between turn 3 and turn 8, something like that, or the very, very vast majority. Turn 3 to turn 8.
I'd say on average, probably like I'd say like turn 4.5 to 5 is where I would put like a good average on it.
Yeah, but when we talk about like a 3-turn game, like people that play strictly casual are going to think, wow, that's really fast. but it's not that fast because there's so many things happening on every turn, right? Like
Oh
that
yeah,
still is
no,
a 15,
it
20, 30
y-
game.
yeah, it's still a full game by the time you
Yeah.
get to turn 4, turn 5, or whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so so it's like it's inexpensive, it's accessible, it's diverse. So then you take all the things you wish CDH was, and it's all of those things. We don't even know what the top deck is. There's no top deck, there's no best combo. Nobody knows. We're still hashing it out.
Yeah, it's all speculation, man. Like I think it comes up in the Discord at least like once or twice a day. People asking like what they should build and what's the strongest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What how would you answer that? Like what do you think? And I know we don't know, right? We don't have like, well, we have some tournament results. I mean, there's some information out there. But man, like
Yeah.
even then, you look at 5 different tournaments, you have 5 different winners.
So we're not, it's not so different from casual and CDH to the point where like you can't draw some similarities there.
No,
So
sure.
like for example, somebody who does really good at tournaments in CDH, I think something that we could probably both agree on, like Kinnon's good, dude. Kinnon's
Yeah.
really good at
Yep.
$100.
Very,
And I
very,
think
very
I
good.
think he just has access to so many of his nuts, you know what I mean, at that $100 price point, to where he's able to do like really well, really consistently, and a lot of the times really early as well.
Yeah, that's the thing about Kinnan, right? It's like it's one of the faster decks, and it's actually unfair that one of the faster decks also gets to be one of the best grind decks. That doesn't yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
kind of messed up, right? Gun to head, if I had to give an answer, I would probably put Kinnan at number 1 right now, but we're like one reprint away from that not being true anymore.
Or even
Like
just one person, like just sitting down and grinding out. What, we had a guy in the Discord last week, was it? He's goldfishing, and like he's showing
yeah.
examples of, what was it, a turn 3 row, like consistent turn 3
Oh
row.
yeah, so like one, yeah. So I've been playing and dabbling in this quasi format within a format, whatever you want to call it. It's actually a format within a format within a format. But I've been dabbling with this for years. I've been in this space for years, and for years I have said that the turbo decks went on turn 4 in this format. That's what the turbo decks do. Like occasionally you win on turn 3,
And I
but
think I
most of the
think
time they're
it's
turn 4.
yeah, I think it's
Now,
also important to point out to like the newer people into this. Like we're talking about like some extremely like fringe, balls to the wall, like turbo, meaning like
yeah.
this isn't something that you're gonna run into. Like when you're coming to like jam games with us or whatever, I would say 99% of the time it's still gonna be a turn, probably 5 or 6 game by the end of it. But
Out of the last 10 games, maybe there was what my well, I won with Kennen on turn 3,
we
one
don't
like
we don't
real
talk about
fast
that.
win. But until like last week, I thought that was kind of a fluke. And here comes a guy who's got a he's like, no, I definitely have a deck that is faster than turn 4. And I'm like, yeah, but is it consistently faster than turn 4? Because I didn't believe in that. And I watched him goldfish this deck for like a half an hour solid. Like he brought it up, I'm watching, and he was real conservative with his estimates too. He wasn't bullshitting. And he was like when he played his sticker goblin that makes what 4 or 5 or 6 mana. He's like, okay, we'll just say this makes 4 mana every time. He always was lowballing everything, and still 100% sure that that deck, at least in that 30-minute slice of time, was goldfishing average turn 3 for sure. And that Anala deck might be able to get there too. Now
Oh
with
my
the
god,
Ral deck,
Ego's deck. Yeah, the
yeah,
Ego's
Egu's
deck.
deck, the Egu special, but the Ral deck, I'll say this though. If you just have like it just folds the swords to plowshare. He's playing a blue deck, but
Absolutely.
he's not.
Yep.
He's not playing a like he doesn't have a lot of interaction. So
Yep.
it's not like it's the best deck. Like fastest doesn't mean best. That's not the same thing. But the point of that I think was, or what I was getting at is that even though I've been in this space for so long, it's changing in real time. Like you can watch it develop right now. If somebody gets into this format right now, they're watching it change. Like this is the beginning, really.
Yeah, I mean, from yesterday, there's already new people from either Reddit or YouTube in there, like brewing their first decks. We have that
Yeah.
one guy, what he was talking about, the Oscar deck that's able to win at
Yeah.
instant speed with Doomsday. Like that's just so cool. And
Yeah.
you don't see that in CDH, and like most casual tables aren't gonna be cool with that. But that's like something that we're like
Right.
openly like I'm not angry when you're end step doomsday piling. I'm stoked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm probably upset at myself for not leaving one more mana untapped to be able to counter it out, but like it is just
Yeah.
it's
Or
such a
not
cool
thinking of it.
format. Yeah, yeah, it's just such a cool format to be part of. I get this a lot too. Is it's like doubt in the like the comments of my videos and everything. I don't know if you experience it too, but like people are actually like, and on the Reddit posts, I get so many people. They're like, dude, you can't build high power at $100. Like they don't match up. And it's like
Yeah.
I want to invite them to one of our games just so that they can like take part of it with their $1,000 deck. But yeah, so I
Exactly.
mean, we both agree on Kinnan. Like
Yeah.
he's yoked.
And he's
What
up
would
there. He
be
might be number one.
what do you think your number two would be? Like if we're doing like a top three, like what do you think your number
Okay,
two would be?
so my top three, I think like number one's Kennen, and I guess we agree on that. But I think it's important to say that if we had like 10 people from the Discord talking here, you wouldn't have 10 people say that
No,
Kennen is the number
absolutely
one
not.
deck, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm mainly on Kinnan because I've tried to interact with it on turn three and still got shut out. But we don't
Yeah,
talk about that.
we don't talk about that. I think number two, I would say Magda. Not my favorite deck, but I think Magda. Now it's not as fast as some of these decks, but it can go fast. Like this can, you'll goldfish turn. And when I'm talking about speed, guys, for the audience, when I'm talking about this deck wins turn four, what I mean is if you leave it alone, which you're not
Yeah.
going to.
No,
But
it's never gonna
if
happen.
you, it's never gonna happen. But if you let Igu go, then he's gonna kill you on turn three, right? But you don't need. That's why you don't do that.
With a spell seeker and 30 other steps.
26, a literal 26 step combo. But Magda's like it's a turn four goldfish, pretty consistently, but it's also able to win on the stack without casting spells. Now I want to say
Yeah.
that again. It is able to win on the stack at instant speed without casting spells. So fuck you stacks, fuck you mono blue control. It's so that it's fast enough to compete on that vector. But then if you let the game go long enough, like you don't even know when you have already lost the game to Magda because a good Magda pilot will not win the game until somebody else wins the game. And that's
And
the
it's
thing that they
crazy.
normally do.
It's always so scary when it's like they're at like what 2 or 3 treasures, and then you're like,
Yep.
oh no, I'm good, I'm safe. And then it's just not 2 or 3 treasures anymore. They do something stupid to the point where now they have 5 treasures, and it's just
Yeah.
GG at that point.
Yeah, if they've got 5 treasures and an artifact dork, they can make it over at any moment. And if they have 10 treasures and nothing else, they can just win right then and there. Like, so you can't let them get to those treasures, but it's like it's so hard to stop them because it's not just Magda. They've got spells in the deck that'll eventually give them their damn treasures, and they can dump it all out in one turn too if they need to. So you can't just. The answer is always like, well, just kill Magda, just kill Magda. Well, Magda only costs 2 mana, so a good pilot, they get their Magda murdered, one time. They maybe don't cast it again until they've got their 10 treasures. They put that bitch in play and then they go, or they wait. And then as soon as somebody puts a win on the stack, they're like, okay, cool, you're gonna win the game. Well, in response to that, I'm gonna win the
Yep.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so I
something.
go
It's
Magda.
yeah. So I'll do my number two in a second, but like the whole instant speed and like just decks that like you said, like 10 different people say 10 different things. I built a $100 Alondo deck. Dude, nobody knows what he is. Nobody knows he's a thing.
Don't.
He's a 4 mana Simic commander from like the Baldur's Gate one. But long story short, what he says is you can tap him and you draw a card and then exile a card with from your hand with time counters on it. And then like there's like this whole thing where it ticks down the time counters for each time you tap them. Long story short, I built it as like a tap untap kind of build, so that I could burst out these like I'm drawing a ton of cards and then casting them all for free off of like the suspend triggers. And it's
That
something that he
sounds
does
sick.
really it's something that he does really well too. Like Alondo doesn't win on your turn, what I do with Alondo is I'll have a critical mass of untap effects on the board, and then in your combat, when you go to declare attacks, when everybody's finally tapped out after all the interaction, that's when I win with Alondo. And it's just like stuff like that. I feel like
It's big.
you really can't build for that. Like, it doesn't have a home anywhere except our format. Like, you
Yeah,
can't
that's
do
cool,
that at
right?
casual. Dude, people throw the table, storm out of the LGS, and never come back. If you tried to do that in CDH, you'd be a laughing stock. You know what
Right,
I
right.
mean? It
Yeah,
just doesn't have a home in either place. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I'd say
What's your number
probably
two?
my number two. Yeah, probably my number two. If we're talking about just like decks that can be fast, I'd say I'd probably go with Selvala, the mono green mana dork Selvala at the
So
number
that's
two
my
slot.
homegirl. That's my
Yeah,
homegirl.
now you're actually, your list is the one that made me a believer in Selvala, because I think you had also mentioned it where like people were talking about her in CDH, and like the lists look crazy from the outside, but when you actually like sit down and pilot it, it's just a completely different experience. But yeah,
It's crazy from the
I've
inside too. It's a very complicated deck, but it does.
yeah.
If you once you figure out how to make it per, so per.
Savala would definitely be my number two. She's able to. I mean, turn three, you're doing Savala things, very
Yeah.
very very consistently. You're playing her on turn two. You're doing a turn one dork into a turn two Savala into a turn three just big dumb creature that nobody cares about, but it has really high power and toughness. And then you're tapping and making like an unnecessarily large amount of green mana, and just kind of like doing like a manual storm off at that point,
Yeah,
where you
it
kind
is.
of gotta like connect the puzzle pieces.
So if you're doing a top, like a tier list of the decks that are most likely to make you clench your cheeks harder than you've ever clenched, and consistently, every time you let a player untap with Selvala in play, you're clenching.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is definitely that way. I would say even more than like a Kinnan, because I feel like Kinnan's more telegraphed.
it is.
But yeah, but Selvala, it's like you're just
Dude, the Selvala
praying they
pilot
don't.
doesn't even
Yeah,
know. You
yeah,
don't even know when you're playing Selvala. You don't even know if you're gonna win.
yeah, no, yep.
Yeah,
It's like you're just praying they don't top deck a 10-10 at that point, so that they can
yeah.
just like manually storm off. And then I
Every
don't
time
know.
somebody asks me, "Are you there? Did you get there?" Like people are ready to like play the next game or scoop it up if I'm there. Everybody's like, "Are you there? Did you win?" And I'm like, I don't know. I have 8 mana and I get to
Yeah,
draw 12 cards.
yeah,
Probably. You know.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah. She's
monocolor
cool.
definitely makes it a little bit more difficult. Well, at least like the mono green, I feel like in that specific, like what she wants to do. Not that mono green is like lacking win cons and everything, but yeah. So I would say on the exact flip side of that, like something that's not necessarily meant to go fast, that's meant to just like grind out the game and tempo win and be able to like flip between aggro and control really effectively. And it's a commander I feel like has felt like way out of favor in CEDH. Like if you look at like top 16 results, and that's another thing I'd like to bring up, is like these, like this is also the space for those like really cool commanders that like they are inherently powerful, but they just too strong for casual, and they're not doing enough in CEDH. But Yuriko, man, Yuriko's fallen off
Yeah.
hard in CEDH. She was like
Yeah.
the boogeyman, and that was during a time when like Dockside was still still legal, and Mana Crypt were still legal, and she was still just absolutely curb stomping CDH events. And now she's just really fallen off now that it's switched to a more mid-rangey kind of thing in the CDH scene. And she's never been cool at casual. If you sit
Yeah.
down for a casual game at your LGS and somebody pulls out a Yuriko, well, it's just not going to be a fun game, because
Dude, that
she
was me
does her.
too. I also didn't know. I didn't know, and I brought Yuriko. I didn't grow up in the casual environment. I tried to take my decks that I had a specific play group when we were just trying to build powerful decks, and I learned that one the hard way too. Yeah, people do not like Yuriko in casual.
Yep.
In casual.
I
Yeah.
built it was actually my first introduction to like higher power, I guess, and it was a similar. I feel like everybody has that story. It was before I was ever in budget competitive or anything. It was $100 Eurico list, and I took some inspiration from some guys on Moxfield, and I threw together $100 Eurico list, and then it was killing people
Yeah.
turn 4, turn 5, and like they were not digging it, they were not happy about it, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, it's only $100 list, you know what I mean? And it
Right.
just like it's that powerful, dude. You
It
cannot
is.
run it in casual. What do you think your number 3 would be? Like what's your
Well,
what's your
I
number
want to
3
I want
pick?
to chip in. I want to chip in on Yuriko. I want to see if I can. So I think there's like different ways to build Yuriko, and I think it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the exact build. But I want to say what I think is powerful about Yuriko is Yuriko incentivizes you to play cards that nobody else wants. That's what
Yep.
makes it a good $100 deck. Like nobody
Yeah.
gives. We're not like having to arm wrestle over like Legacy All Star. I can't even think of the name of these stupid cards in that Yuriko deck, but it plays like otherwise bad cards and
Mm-hmm.
turns them into powerhouses, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Changeling Outcast. It's
Mm-hmm.
so and it does the same thing every game, and you get your draw engine and your win condition both in the command zone, and you are. I don't want to say you're cheating, man. I would say you're cheating,
You're
mana.
cheating. You're cheating.
You're you're
Yeah,
che-
you're
you're che-
cheating.
you're cheating at Magic, that's for sure. But you get the value engine and the win condition both in the command zone if you want to play the deck that way, and that's how I play it. I don't even put combos in my Yuriko deck. If I'm
Nah,
gonna
dude.
play Yuriko,
You
I'm
load
just
up.
burning and turning.
Yep, and maybe a couple of top like either like top deck tutors like Limdal's Vault, or ways to
Oh
manipulate
yeah,
the top deck like Brainstorm, and then
brainstorm. Yeah,
you slam something stupid like a Dig Through Time or a Temporal
yeah.
Trespass on the top of the
Temporal
deck, and you're
trespass is the
burning everybody.
nastiest.
Yep.
Yep. Uh, okay, so I can see that, and I think a lot of people I think that a lot of people would agree with you that Yuriko is like top tier, and I've lost to it plenty. Number three, I would go with. This is really actually super hard. Um, I want to just cheat and say Malcolm Red, but Malcolm gun to head, God. So my CDH tournament list is the only deck I've ever played in CDH tournaments, and I've played a good chunk of them for a long time. I played Malcolm Tana in CDH, and I think it's just a little bit better than Malcolm Caddis. Hate to say it. In the $100 space, I'm going to go with Malcolm Caddis. That's my number three.
Okay.
And it gives you the same kind of like you're pushed into playing cards that have never even sniffed competitive play before.
Eagle
Glowworm
Vision.
Buccaneer,
Yep.
Eagle Vision is so good in that deck, dude.
Yep.
So all these little like one mana changelings and pirates and just nonsense that you wouldn't see. Reckless Fireweaver,
Yep.
all these Reckless Fireweaver clones.
Hedron Detonator. Yeah.
Hedron Detonator, yeah. Now, if you turn Hedron Detonator into a pirate, that's a different situation, right? With Malcolm and play, well, you win the game.
Yeah.
So Malcolm Kedis is the way that I build the deck, and I think that probably if I had to guess, I would say upwards of 75% of the people that are listening to this, even though I'm saying this, will still literally not believe this. But I promise you get turn two Malcolm almost every single game. I mean, so close to
At
every
least
single game.
at least 80% of the time,
Yeah,
man.
after Mulligan, for sure. For
Yep.
sure. So you go turn one, whatever, like tap depletion land or Cirque Prospector, or turn one Gold Hound, some way that you're gonna go turn two Malcolm, and then on turn three you play Caddis. You have one mana open. Hopefully it's a protection spell for your Malcolm, and then you go to combat and you make a Black Lotus's worth of mana every combat. If you happen to have one of the many curiosity effects in the deck, even with that City and I going up to like $12, that is still in my deck. It's so important. I slap the curiosity effect on Malcolm, go to combat, and every time you hit somebody with Kedis in play, you're getting 3 treasures and drawing 3 cards. How do you beat somebody who gets a Black Lotus and an Ancestral Recall every single combat? It's really
You
hard.
don't. You don't.
Pretty much, you've reached escape velocity at that point. Plus, you get the occasional like free win. Nobody's expecting Malcolm Kettis to win the game on turn 4. Sometimes it does though, and it can just grind it. So it's good at every point in the game. And when you're piloting the deck, the way that I feel, it's not like you're piloting the deck. You're not making the decisions. The deck is telling you what to do. It's more like surfing than driving. Like you're just kind of surfing the deck. It's telling you, okay, well, this game we're gonna do this thing. The only thing consistent is that by turn 3 you're doing something completely broken.
I think that's a really good theme, like to kind of hone in on too, is like budget competitive. I think what makes the really like the not even the best decks. I don't think we're even at a point where we could just say this is the best deck. I think it's the coolest decks. I think is probably the coolest decks are the ones that are able to win in just these like super unique ways, or that can break the game at like its fundamental base. There's hundreds and hundreds of deck lists for you guys to scrub through between the Discord and the Budget Pub Stomper channel, and like I'm slowly adding the catalog to my channel too, with my weird hipster decks on there, where it's like Ratadrabic, for example, one that I recently built. He just
really
breaks
cool
he breaks the ring mechanic. And I guess that's what I'm getting at, is you just have the freedom to do these like really, really cool, funky different ways, and you're not trading power for the fun. You know, casual is all about I really feel like casual is a lot of the time, I mean, you have that social aspect to the game, and it might just be me, but I think we've talked about this before. I've just never gotten it. I've never gotten the fact that like you have this entire format that is built around building your deck to be less fun. You know what I mean? Less interaction, honing down the power, and it's just like the format as a whole, it just, I don't know. I feel like that's why a lot of people like end up transitioning to the normal choice, and the more popular choice is definitely transitioning like straight into CDH, or staying in high powered hell for the casual hell for their entire
purgatory,
magic.
Purgatory.
Yeah, and it's
live.
How did you land on, like, you kind of alluded to like the whole $150 thing, but like how'd you like really get into it, man? Like what's your villain arc? What's your origin story?
The genesis of Navanad. How did a normal, ordinary mortal become Navanad? So yeah, I did the $150 decks for my buddies. I was blown away by how powerful they were. It was way, way, way beyond what I was expecting, and I didn't know what the fuck I was even doing. And so I got like interested in that. I said, well, then what's the next thing I can try to build and break? So I started just building all these like really cheap decks, these really budget decks, and that kind of brought me just kind of accidentally into contact with a guy who used to be one of the guys who ran the CDH Nexus, which for any, oh man, like this is going back years, but there used to be like really one hub on the internet where you could play CDH, and that was called the Nexus. And there was a guy, Timmy T 2000. Shout out Timmy T. I bumped into what he was doing. He was doing budget decks. He was doing budget CDH. Now his budget decks were $500 budget decks and $1,000 budget decks. Anybody coming from casual, that's
isn't that crazy? Isn't
funny.
Isn't that crazy to say out loud?
Yeah, $1,000 budget decks. But seriously, and I built one, you know. I built $1,000 budget Godo, and then $1,000 budget Corvold. But so I kind of bumped into those guys. There was a group of guys that were playing budget CDH, but they were doing $500 decks mostly. Well, they had a tournament at some point. They hosted a tournament. And so I went to town brewing, and got like, I don't know, 50 players, something like that, collected, like we gathered and played online. at a 50-player tournament. It was called the CBB 100. But they went down all the way to $100, which was kind of the wheelhouse. What I had been doing was $150 decks just because it's randomly, because I figured I could afford about $300 to spend on my buddies, you know. This was $100 cut and dried. It had to be submitted, Mox Field low, and when you submitted the deck list, it was locked in at whatever that price is. That is when I started really paying attention to and seeing a kind of format, or what could be a format. So that was kind of like how I got into this little sub format. For me, it was like a segue away from CDH, just kind of a fun thing to do. It was kind of like the way into CDH, and then once I got into CDH, it was another thing to do aside from CDH. But what I would expect, like what I would have expected, is that $100 budget competitive would be, or budget high power, whatever you want to call it, would be a nice stepping stone on your way from casual to CEDH. And fair enough, it is, right? That surely is a thing it could be. But what I think instead of that, or what it more is it's actually just a place to stop. You don't have to go into CDH, because this format in a lot of ways is better. Like, we don't have the draw meta. We don't have, dude, there was that tournament, that big huge tournament, I don't know, maybe a month ago now. They got to the final pod, and you can't time the final pod. You can't put a time limit on it, because what are you going to do if it goes to time? So there's no time limits, and the game went 11 hours.
Dude, I can't imagine. I can't imagine
11
it.
hours. So we don't have that. And
No,
like I was saying earlier,
definitely not.
no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, everybody's gonna. Well, you'll run out of interaction. You're not gonna have mana. You're not gonna have. But those CDH decks now are just tuned to the point where they just there's like infinite value. There's no stopping the value. And when
It's
there's
infinite value, and it's infinite value, and they're all built to stop each other's infinite value, and it's just miserable, dude.
Yeah, but every time somebody tries to win, it's 3 players with infinite value against 1 player with infinite value. That's the problem, you know. So it always turns into a 3v1. It's just the nature of the beast, and like nobody can break through. We're gated by mana, and we're gated by cards, but in CDH you're basically at a point where you're not gated, so you just get these infinite. So point is, I guess, that I think that we have a lot in this format. We have a lot to offer that CDH doesn't. I think like, strictly speaking, I just think it is a better format. It's like you're actually penalized for playing a 5-color deck. You know, in CDH, your mana's perfect. You can play whatever you want.
I think it's more fun, man. I think that's really what it boils down to. I have so much more fun playing $100 brew of like extremely, and the decks look different. You know what I mean? It's not just 100. It's not 99 of the best cards and then your commander. It is 99 cards that you have to. I mean, you don't have to. But like, if you want it to perform at the top of its possibility, like, you're scouring Scryfall lists. You're taking data from different sources, and you're just trying to make this like super well-oiled synergistic machine. And by the end of it, you just come out with this like really awesome, really powerful. Once again, I don't think we can stress this enough. $100 deck, dude. You're talking the price of your next 2 precons. You know what I mean? You're talking the price of an upgraded precon. They are legitimately that powerful at $100. It's a more engaging and more empowering format to build in, and the games themselves are just more fun in general, I think, than a CEDH like can ever possibly be.
What I'll say is, hands down, the case is that the deck building is more fun. It's in CDH, you as soon as you know what colors you're playing, you know 70 of your 100 cards. You know.
Yep.
That's not the case here. This is where you want to be for brewing. You do have to like figure it out yourself. Like you said, you can't just play a good stuff pile. Like, there's not enough guides.
Eventually, between me and you, we'll have enough guides where maybe someone can come in and be able to get like halfway there. I wanna land us off on a hot take though, and something that we can maybe that's a good idea. let's do our hot take, and then if you guys agree or disagree, we'll talk about some of the top comments in the next podcast that we do.
Like that.
And that'll be our hot take section. So you guys can like if you want your shout out, make sure you go down in the comments, talk with us about it. I think the biggest shock for me when I got into the format was the land count. And I can actually draw a direct line to the first deck I ever built. Was Navinod's $100 Squall list. And the first time I loaded that thing up and saw 33 lands in there, I mean, I was like in disbelief. I had to watch the video again. I didn't think I was on the right deck list for a second, because he was talking about like how strong and how consistent and how powerful it was, and then I get in there and I see 33 lands. So like what's your take on that, man? I know I have my take on it, but like what's the take with the land count? Because you go on YouTube and every big YouTuber and every big content creator is telling you to run 38, 39, 40 lands. What's your take?
Oh my god, I want my deck to do something, so I put cards in it. That's my, like, there's ratios. Actually, I think 33 lands is a little bit higher than what I averaged. I think, and like that number keeps. I think a year ago it was more like 30 on the nose, but yeah, so I would say I mean, the obvious thing I would say is that people put way too many lands in their decks. Like, that might be a hot take, but I think people play way too many lands and too many rocks.
We're calling out all the big YouTube channels right now.
Yeah,
Just insert your favorite creator here. We're talking to them directly. You put way too many lands in your deck.
Yes, you put way too many lands in your deck. Well, and also your curve is crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's every deck.
Cards.
Yeah, I don't think it's every deck, and I think the reason that like all these templates and everything exist and why people are so stuck on these high land counts is because casual right now is in mid-range hell. You know what I mean? It's all mid-range.
Casual is mid-range hell. That's just what casual is. Except for the people that break the casual rules and build decks that beat the mid-range decks, but then those are, tryhards or whatever. I don't know. I don't mess with
us.
casual.
It's us.
That's it. So that's us, yeah. So there's a place for you now. Now you have a home if you're like us.
Yep.
My hot take for the video's end is for wrapping up is that kind of in related news, templates are useless. I said
Absolutely.
it. I mean it.
Absolutely. No, I'm there 100%.
Templates are useless. People ask me for a template. I hear this all the time. Like, okay, well, what template do you use? Like, what template do I use? Are you out of your mind? That's like, there's no two decks that are this. Like, these decks are so much different from one another. I've got my Malcolm Tana deck and my Malcolm Kettis deck. Here's something they have in common. Neither one of them plays a single 2-mana rock, because you don't put a 2-mana rock in those decks, right? But there's other decks I play. Well, our Kefka list we built together is playing 8 2-mana rocks or something like that. 7 maybe. So there's no template. Like, some decks I'm playing 30 lands, some decks are playing 34 lands, maybe 29 in Selvala, maybe, or Kennan's at 30, I think, on the money. There's no tip. Your decks are different. They're going to do different things at different speeds. So you have to look at the way the deck's going to play.
And I think it's less of a fault of the actual casual player, because
it's not them at all. They're being spoon-fed that.
Yeah, and it's the creators in general, and the video sells because you're telling all the people building mid-range decks to put 38 lands in their deck. Okay, yeah, and you're telling them you need 10 draw spells and 8 pieces of removal, and it's going to work a lot of the time. But it's not possible to do. If you've ever taken one of those templates and tried to build outside the norm, it just falls apart so rapidly. And it's really, guys, what it boils down to is you have to have an intimate knowledge with your deck. You know what I mean? Not to be weird about it, but you got to know
really
what your deck's doing, and that's the big takeaway is, man, templates, they're not gonna work. They're not gonna work for your deck. If you're doing anything outside the norm, it's not gonna work, and I'll die on that hill. I think that's a hill I'll die on.
Yeah, me too. A template's a box that you get stuck in. It's not adding anything. It's not giving you anything. It's only kind of imprisoning you. And like you said, you need an intimate knowledge of your deck. You need to learn your deck, the ins and outs. And these decks, especially when you start trying to build for power, and these are like synergistic soups. Like you can't believe how synergistic these decks are. It's like its own little
Cuts are
universe.
almost cuts are almost impossible at the final building
Yeah,
stages of $100 high power.
yeah.
We were going back and forth for like a week on our Kefka list over like what, one or two
One
cuts, and
card.
it was
Yeah, well,
just
two cards, I guess.
it's just insane. But
Because
yeah,
every
man,
card is linked to 5 other cards, and those cards are all linked to these other 5 cards. And if you take one card out, like, 4 of your packages get a little bit worse. One of them doesn't work anymore. Okay, well, I'll just take that package out. Okay, well, now these other cards, it's just like every deck
and
is a little universe
imagine trying to build that going off the
with a
knowledge
template. With a
with a
template.
YouTuber gave you, that you
Yeah.
have to have 15 pieces of removal and
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's a good ending off point for us, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, like hit us up in the comments. This is going to be something that we're going to be trying to do semi
This
regularly
went
for you guys.
way longer than we thought it was gonna.
Yeah,
Way longer.
yeah, a little bit longer. We might have to tune that up, and then in the
Yeah.
future. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I'd so much appreciate you guys tuning in, listening to two weird Magic hipsters talk about their quasi format. And I guess the TLDR of this whole video is, first of all, welcome. If you do decide to take the leap, I think it's less of a leap. You know what I mean? It's a leap from casual to CEDH. You're just one small step away. It's just putting down the deck that you untuned to be more fun for your play group, and just embracing that like you can build these really powerful, awesome decks for $100, and there's a community of people that are super stoked to see just how busted you can make a deck for only $100.
And we're gonna help you. We literally want to help you.
We're there to help you. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, the more people we get in there doing more busted stuff, that makes us have to do better as well. But yeah, I mean, that's my closing point. I'm super happy to be able to do this with you, man. Like I said, we're gonna try to do this on a semi-regular schedule, so you guys can look forward to upcoming podcasts where we talk about
shorter ones.
Yeah, hopefully shorter ones, where we talk about just everything $100 budget competitive. Make sure to if it is something that you enjoyed, tune in, subscribe, like the video so that you get notified for the next one. Hit that dumb little notification bell, because we're gonna be here, and I don't plan on shutting up about our format anytime soon. So
yeah, no, I've been screaming to anybody who will listen, and some people that won't, for years now.
All right, cool guys.
Right
well,
on.
you take care, and I will see you in the next one.
Namaste, homies.